Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of that family friendly, somewhat influential, not quite educational, inspirational, gravitational, lunchtime, brunch time, acoustic hell ride known as the Jay and Rob Toy Show. I am Rob McCallum, and I don't do this alone, and I won't do this alone. Allow me to bring in my comrade. I'd love to just sit here and click a button, put up a video, and tell you what's wrong with my childhood with maybe one edit or two, but I care more about you than that. So let me introduce to you the man who's going to bring it all together, make you feel like Graceland one more time this week. Here is Elvis J. Presley.
I had a great intro. You say the acoustic brunch. A photo popped up on my timeline the other day, and it was you and me at Poacher's Arms when we went to see our friend Glenn, our good buddy Glenn, play. And he went for a break, and you picked up the guitar, and I picked up the bongos, and we played Skid Row. That picture, I don't even know who took that photo. That was from like 2015, I think.
Nice.
That was pretty cool. Hey, what's going on, everyone in chat? Thanks for joining us.
Look at everyone in chat. You know what, Jay? I got to tell you, we've been live now over 2 minutes. I see a lot of names in chat. I see Luneth Spark. I see Nathan from 35,000 feet up in the air. He's on his way to Portland for Faking Filmation. I see our good friend Ryan. I see Articulated Chad. Good morning. Great Saturday, you guys. Hope everybody else is doing. Silver Knight Kyle has made an appearance. We got Hugo, of course. We got Cactus Jamie, but I don't see that staple commenter who's good for at least one hello and hi, and that is, of course, Lisa. What's the deal?
I don't know. I have no idea, to be honest with you.
Well, that's a good time.
It's good to see the regulars, and it's good to see some new faces. So thanks, everyone, for coming.
Well, this is the added benefit of trying to go live on a different day. I do miss the Wednesday night time slot. I do like the acoustic brunch hell ride, whatever, gravitational hell ride, whatever I said at the beginning. I like this time slot as well. You get a little bit of both. I'm sure we'll change again. At some point, we will go live regularly on Thursday at 10:23 a.m.
We should do like a 3 a.m. late night Dolly lunch.
There you go. Fest. What are we going to do? Yeah, Dolly lunch fest. Okay, fair enough. We're going to talk about something being trash or treasure today. That's such a clickbait headline. I apologize. It was the best my brain could come up with. We're going to be discussing lesser known toy lines and the appeal, the fate of them, why they became lesser known, and all that. But of course, we've got lots to talk about, including our icebreaker, which is brought to you by our sponsors. Big Bad Toy Stores, Heroes Comics in London, Ontario, of course. Mock Masters, if you want to have some protective clamshells to keep your dollies clean and safe and looking minty, you got to go to Mock Masters. And if you want some ironic t-shirts by some cool pop culture illustrators, my goodness, then go to Retro Rags Limited. They got all that kind of stuff. Nathan's landing, so he's got to go. Nathan, get to work already. Jeez, come on now. Jay, the icebreaker this week, it's a doozy.
Mm-hmm.
How would you combine all the toys that we collectively love into a video game? Video games and toys have had a lot of ups and downs. There's been Amiibos, there's been Disney Infinity, there's been stuff that has nothing to do with some sort of physical artifact. There's been stuff like Marvel vs. Capcom, where we've seen our favorite comic book heroes, meet into a brawl, or even stuff like DC Injustice. But what would be your way of combining all our toys and all our IPs? Let's assume there's no licensing issues and there's no budget issues. What's just the core concept that you want to see get woven together?
I would say a fighting game, for sure. Like the one we used to play when we were kids, right? I think that makes the most sense. I would like a big World of Warcraft kind of thing where, sure. But I mean, if programming wasn't an issue and time to make a game wasn't an issue, something like that would take 20 years to make. But I think ultimately a fighting game would probably work the best.
Right.
And you could always have like DLC until the cows came home, 100%.
That's fair. That's fair. I would like to see some sort of adventure game that really takes you like from world to world, almost like a Kingdom's Hearts. I think dipping in and out. I guess that would be my take on it. I don't know what that would be that would incorporate so many different varied lines, but they're all kind of similar, or at least I think you could get enough of them similar. Even if it was like a Turtles in Time side-scrolling beat 'em up, where you're going to different sections with different kind of assist partners from side to side. I
Yeah.
think that could be kind of cool. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, that would be good. Like an X-Men 4-player Konami co-op thing. Yeah, that would be great. The old school Capcom beat 'em ups are some of the best. I mean, Final Fight is still one of the greatest games of all time. He's just so insanely fun.
Have you
And
seen? Sorry, go ahead.
go ahead. I was just gonna say, and to take that formula and put in pretty much any character you wanted within reason. I mean, no Galactus or anything like that, but it would be really cool. It'd be really cool.
Have you seen the 2 new turtle offerings that are coming our way? The retro anniversary collection. I think it's called the Cowabunga something or other, where it's every single turtle game from the past, like from the retro days. So the NES ones, the Super Nintendo, the Hyperstone Heist from Genesis, the Game Boy games. There's like 13 of them bundled for $40, I think. And then there's a new game in the vein of Turtles in Time or arcade, however you want to look at it, called Shredder's Revenge with all the original voice actors from the '88 cartoon. You seen any of those?
Yeah, I've seen like early stuff, not anything recently, but I knew I was aware that was coming. It's cool. I mean, the first Turtles arcade game, even Turtles in Time, those games are classics. And Konami, much like Capcom, had the same engine and just put a different paint job on probably 10 of these games, which we were just fine with as kids because they were all super fun.
Yeah, Simpsons, X-Men, Avengers, Turtles.
Yeah, I mean, The Simpsons and X-Men, exactly what you just said. They're all the exact same game. Turtles, yeah, just a different paint job. But that was fine. I mean, $10 later, you finally beat the game. I remember getting a roll of quarters, mom giving me a roll of quarters and going into Wizard Arcade, and you felt like you were a king, man. A roll of quarters?
Yeah.
So cool. That would last you, depending. I don't know. Those beat 'em ups were designed for you to die, right? I mean, there's unblockable stuff. There's stuff you can't avoid, but lasts you about half hour. I'd say 40 minutes.
Roll of quarters last you a good 5 minutes. I was sinking loonies, the Canadian $1 coin, into Daytona machines endlessly.
Daytona. Yeah,
but I knew if I had $20,
yeah.
I knew if I had $20, I could play Daytona and have a really good fill of it for a whole week, whether I was racing somebody else or not. And I remember this one time I went to an arcade in Windsor, Ontario, and they had 8 Daytona machines networked. And now that was super fun to have, like, basically all local individual machines. Just that was the best for me. That's what I loved.
I'm trying to remember why you didn't get a Saturn. I can't remember because I was
I was a child. I was like 14 when it came out,
95.
so I didn't exactly have disposable income.
You didn't ask for it for Christmas or any of that stuff.
Oh no. The way that my household worked is you were given one video game console and that was it.
Oh yeah.
Didn't matter. So I think I've told the story how I got an NES and then years later my brother got a Super Nintendo. And so that was his one console that my grandparents got him, and I got mine, and that was forever. I only got a Genesis because my dad had given it to me for my birthday, but that was it. I was envious of your Saturn. It was awesome. I remember at one point you even had it hooked up in your kitchen.
Dude, my peak, not including Nintendo Quest, my peak of video game just insanity and enthusiasm would have been 95, 96. I remember my buddy James and we worked at a video game store called Microplay in Canada here, and I remember us taking a trip to Die Hard Video Games in Michigan, which seemed like the other side of the world, and I got a Japanese Saturn. Remember, mine was beige, the Japanese one. Back in the day, the Japanese systems used to be different, and it was so cool. And they would also come out months before we got them in America and Canada here. I remember getting the Japanese Saturn with Virtual Fighter and Daytona, and it was just heaven. But I do remember, honestly, and this is the honest truth, I remember booting up Daytona and being disappointed. Like it was good, but I expected like exactly like the arcade, and it wasn't.
Well,
Didn't.
you're obviously not in the arcade though, too, right?
No,
You're
I
not
don't
like
even
a
mean the
foot
wheel. I
away
mean
from
just
the
the
TV.
graphics, right? Like
I know,
it
but it's
didn't look
different.
as good. I was like,
It's different. It was bang on for the Dreamcast though, which was
I
a
never played it
console
on
that I
that.
did get.
Yeah, and
Oh,
it's so weird.
perfect.
That game is so great. It's so simple. Like it's
Yep.
so basic, but it's just so fun. That joins, great games like Sonic All Star Racing is a fantastic
Oh
kart
yeah.
game, but you can tell it uses the Daytona engine
Yep.
because everything is
100%.
gigantic in it. I like it better than Mario Kart. That's me.
And I like the follow-up Sonic All-Stars Racing Transformed, which
Yeah.
did the transforming kart like a year or two before Mario Kart did the switch between all the different
And
modes.
the best part, man, you know it. You get to be Alex Kidd. That's freaking amazing.
Of course, that's your favorite, right?
But yeah, the long
But
lost
all those
mascot of
Sega
Sega.
characters, tons of deep cuts, man. Burning Rangers,
Yeah.
all that stuff.
And those
All
other
that stuff.
guys.
And
All the classic Sega guys like the guy
I can't
and
remember if
the other
there's
guy.
Skies of Arcadia characters in that or not. I can't remember if there's oh there's what is it? What's that dance game? Not DDR or Channel 5?
Oh yeah. Space Channel 5.
Space Channel 5, and there's
There's-
Fantasy Star Online stuff. There's Super Monkey Ball, I think,
Yeah, the
in that.
Samda, I can't even pronounce it.
Yeah, Sam
Samda the
Amigo or
Amigo.
whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
guys are. There was a lot of cool characters, but Alex Kidd, I can't remember if Wonder Boy was in it. I can't remember. But I remember being able to be Alex Kidd, and that was the first time we'd seen Alex Kidd since the Genesis. So
Yeah,
I
you were
was
super
super
unlocked.
stoked, man. And
Yeah.
I wish I had that game still.
Look at
Dang.
this. We've spent 10 minutes of our show talking about video games. This is a toy show. I guess video games are toys. In that time, Cindy has joined us. Hey, Cindy, happy Saturday. Your plan to get Nathan out of the house has clearly worked. Way to go. Upstate Johnny has joined us as well. Finally made it. What's shaking on your trash and treasures, kids? And he says, and a good cheers in order for hitting your Kickstarter initial goal, which brings us to a little bit of the housekeeping, and that's an auction update and Kickstarter update. So, Jay, let's start with the auction update. What has sold and what's listed now?
Well, we shot again the other day.
Well, yeah, that happened too. Wow, that
We
felt like a
still
lifetime.
have some filming to do, but we did shoot the other day, and it was the last day of the last auction, which was the Masters of the Universe Eternia Holy Grail playset, and it was great. I guess I'm not going to say anything. You can disclose whatever you want to talk about that shoot, but it was really great. It was exciting, and the playset is being picked up tomorrow from my house here, and that's it. That's the last of it.
It's cool. It's cool. And I know, Sectar's had some stumbling issues for your General Spidrax, but we've already have a lead on that now as well. And there's still some more donations to liquidate. And once all that stuff's done, we'll be able to kind of tidy up the last episode of the series. Like you mentioned, there's probably one more afternoon of shooting that we've got to do. A little bit of, reflective thoughts and forecasting to what could happen next, and just kind of what does it all mean, man? What does it all mean? But yeah, thank you everybody for the last 11 weeks for participating, for bidding, for following along as we've, done like auctions nonstop. It's so strange how quickly time flies week after week. Because I remember when we set it up, I thought, wow, we've got like 3 months of this stuff to go through before it's done. It feels like an eternity.
Yeah.
And here we are.
Yeah. The lovely ladies at the post office near my house got to know me quite well, going in the same time every week, shipping stuff off. Speaking of shipping stuff off, we got Upstate Johnny who won a couple of the auctions. Yeah, I mean it's always sad. It's the second time we've done this now, and it's great because the number we raised, we'll talk about that whenever you're ready. That's great. But it's sad, it's sad to see this stuff go, because you and I we have a connection to this, obviously, because it was the stuff featured in season 2. So I'm glad it's all going to a really good homes and joining other people's collections. So that's great.
Yeah. Does it feel like it's over yet, or does it feel like it's still lingering? When does it feel like you're finally done with this stuff? I know we've got, I'm going to say it's an hour of filming, if that. it's not going to be long. This last session never is, but does it feel like it's over yet?
Yeah, I mean, my spare room in my house is what has been housing all of the auction items, and to see the barge no longer there, Eternia is down here. I have to pack that up today. Yeah, and all the other smaller items are all gone. It's yeah. I mean, people forget, I house this stuff for a good half year, maybe more, and it's like I don't go and look at it every day, but it's still like I feel like it's part of us, right? But it'll forever be immortalized in season 2, which, by the way, right now you can go on Kickstarter if you want the Blu-ray. Rob, take it away.
Well, I just happen to have the tab all set up that we can showcase where we're at, and as Upstate Johnny had indicated, and I'll bring his comment up once more, we managed to hit our initial Kickstarter goal of $5,000 And for everybody watching, I'm browsing in Canada, which is why it's like that. So it's 6,400 of 5,000 US, or 82 of 64 Canadian. And we managed to hit our goal in like 2.5 days. Exciting is one word for it. I think everybody seems to be responding well to the trailer, which is super cool. It's been nice to share some footage other than just talking about it. And I know I did a Kickstarter overview a little over a week ago where we kind of snuck it in there, but cool to kind of actually have it out there and people sharing it. And it's on Facebook now. It's on YouTube separately from the overview. And of course it's on Kickstarter. And I mean, the support is saying a lot. Like I said, we're at 6,400 or so, which is pretty great after only 4 days, considering season 1 only did like 11,000 total. So we're already almost halfway there, and we've got most of our campaign left to go. 3 weeks. So in 3 weeks' time, we'll count down the final minutes live on the Jay and Rob Toy Show, the acoustic gravitational Hell Ride edition, and see what we end up at. Of course, now we've got 2 stretch goals in sight, and that's for toy room tours, which we've shot, including Jay's, and mini kind of episode, mini quest of 6 episodes. So it'd be just like, it's kind of like season 2.5 or season 3, maybe, depending on what we decide to do. But 6 more episodes are up for possibility. If we hit $30,000, we'll find a way to make that happen. And the way that gets happening is if you become a backer today. Quite simply, it costs $10 to get a copy of this season 2 right here. $10. You get it before it's going to be broadcast anywhere. Right now, we only have plans to broadcast it in Canada. It may not broadcast in the US until much, much later. I know for season 1, it didn't broadcast in the US until like 7 or 8 months after Canada. So it was like the summer of 2020 versus like the fall of 2019, I think, or 2020 and then 2021, whatever it was. It was like 7 months, which is a big gap. So if you want to be in on it before it broadcasts anywhere, week by week, we will roll out the episodes and be able to talk with everybody about what happens and go from there. Of course, we've got bonus materials as well. If you want to up your pledge to $19, you get copies of the Jay and Rob Toy Show, season 1 and season 2 digitally. Digital bonus materials, of course, from season 2 of AFA, and it just goes on from there. DVDs, Blu-rays, signed disc art. We are doing basically separate add-ons. If you want Jay and I to sign it, we're going to produce some alternate art, which I can showcase down here. It's right there. So you will get an additional disc jacket that is separate and loose from the case that you purchase, whether it's DVD or Blu-ray, and we will sign it so you can have that. Do what you want with it, frame it, put it over top of the other one.
That's great. I didn't see that before. We both come with pizza, which was literally the only thing that fueled us. Literally.
Well, I love that I've got like a camera that looks like a gun too. Like
that's Scoop. I think Jeremy did that. I think it looks like Scoops from G.I. Joe because it was,
or it's like April O'Neil. I can't
remember the reference. That's probably more likely April's. Yes.
And then
what do I have? Just a box of toys.
No, there's some specific dollies in there. You'll have to get this to see what it is. Even
I'll make sure I put my pledge in.
I hope you do. And of course you get 2 posters if you want as add-ons, and then we also still have a few season 1 DVDs and Blu-rays available, but not much. Here it is. Oh, looks like I got to update this. Well, that's embarrassing. I got to unlock this one, but c'est la vie. So that's that. Kickstarter is doing well. I
Right.
I appreciate all the support, guys. Please share. It's a matter of sharing at this point, quite frankly. We know our core backers that tune in every week to our show and that interact with us on a frequent basis. A lot of you guys have, plunked down your cash. You're excited for it just because you believe in it and the cause. So thank you for all that. And if you can share it with everybody, your podcasts, your other pages, your other stream channels, all that stuff, that's what helps get this to the stretch goals. Any other thoughts on where we're at with that?
Exciting stuff, really. And you said there's still a couple of the $1,000 tiers left. One is gone, but
one is gone. That means there's three, and there's 3 toy hunting tiers gone too. So the toy hunt comes with the executive producer tier, which is $1,000, and I did a separate toy hunting tier for $500, which still comes with an associate producer credit and all that.
Yeah.
So look at this, articulated Chad. I went a little nuts on the add-on items for the tier I pledged. I got the Blu-ray and DVD signed jacket when I never even got a DVD. So he's just going to get the piece of paper, folks. And to be frank, we did that on purpose. I wanted to make sure that if somebody just wanted like the digital bonus edition or whatever, they could have everything digitally, but they wanted something that was physical. I think for $10 or whatever, you get like the disc jacket that Jay and I will sign. So the shipping is a lot lower, and it's easier to get to you and maintain and all that. So yeah, you have an opportunity to still come on the hunt with Jay and I.
And let me tell you, like it's fun. I mean, when us two idiots get together, lots of fun stuff happens. And then you put a camera, in front of us, or me in front of the camera and him behind it, which I think is even worse. And yeah, it's just a lot of fun. So yeah, you guys, I want to see you guys come along with us and kind of see what it's like to I guess, what do we call it? Shop under pressure. I mean, we don't even know what we're going to do. We might just do like a regular hunt there.
And we might hang out. There might not be cameras. Of course, if we can capture it, it would be way better than not capturing it.
Sure.
So,
yeah. All depends on how we do. Yeah.
Vicman de Santiago wants to know, do you send the Blu-ray internationally? Yes, of course we do. And it is region free. So you don't have to worry about those pesky region codes. You can play them anywhere in the world. They're region 0. And our downloads are DRM free as well. As long as you have a Vimeo account, everything will be saved in your library and you can download it and check it out and enjoy it. So
word.
That's that. You wanted to, oh man, before we get to Trash or Treasure, got a confession, my friend.
I'm your fool?
No, I got a confession.
What?
You can be my fool though. Most of the week, I think all of the week, I didn't look at Big Bad Toy Store at all, or Entertainment Earth, or any toy sites. And you know what? I was okay. I made it through the week.
Oh yeah.
I didn't have to scratch an itch. It wasn't until I think Friday afternoon.
Was that when the Pulse thing happened, or?
No, I didn't. I got emails about that, but I didn't look. Friday afternoon, I was, I think, posting.
Look at it. Keep your eyes shut.
Can't look at the toys. Don't do it, please. Friday afternoon, I saw something posted on Facebook because I was spreading the word about the Kickstarter. And
what did you do, Ray?
Well, I looked at Big Bad Toy Store again, and I saw something. And I thought I was okay. I didn't feel the pull.
Do I have to make a video about this after?
I feel like, nobody's wrecked my childhood. Nobody's done anything wrong. Hasbro, why have you wrecked my childhood with your no window packaging? Why can't you show me the thing I want to buy?
I never said at all during that video
Hasbro,
that I wrecked a childhood.
Hasbro, you make $1.5 billion a year and you keep making money. Everybody is still employed and you can't show me the dolly I need on my shelf?
No, you can't. Just plunk the money down and shut up, and you may get a figure with his head off, but whatever.
Mother Earth will understand. If I need something to buy, I will donate separately to grow a tree if I can see my action dolly.
Mother Earth, here, you wanna save the planet? Shrink the figure down to 3-inch again, please, and then we could get vehicles for Joe's. That would be nice.
They have those, Jay. The retro releases at Walmart. You love
the Sky Striker that's $300.
And you've got the reaction figures. Those are 3 inches too, right?
I said vehicles.
You got some vehicles coming. You got that sled from Super 7.
Oh,
That's a
I've seen it.
vehicle.
I don't have it. I didn't buy
Yeah,
that
you
thing.
do.
$80,
Yeah, you got it. You
$80.
got it, man. You
The
got
dog,
that
dude.
$80 dog sled.
The dogs in that thing look like they're like Lego dogs. Like that's
They were ported over from the stop motion Rudolph cartoon by Rankin Bass. Oh, here
I'm
it comes.
good,
You're good. Okay.
buddy.
Well, the truth is,
Okay, what did you do? Let's out with it.
it's not that simple, frankly. It's just, I just, I made a purchase. I bought a dolly.
Oh, you're bringing it up?
I'm bringing it up.
I see your eyes fucking squirrely. Oh, you got it. That's awesome. Yeah, you texted me that. Is that the Mezco one, right?
This is the Mezco 112 Collective Doctor Doom.
But that's your guy though.
That's my guy. I gotta have more Doctor Dooms. It's not that I don't have enough yet. I gotta have more Doctor Doom. Each one is more definitive
the liar,
than the
cheater,
last.
thief, stealing power liar, Doctor Doom.
I don't know what to say.
Look at another computer. Those Fantastic Fours is at it again.
Look at this.
Mezco is great. Yeah. They are somewhere in between Ultimates and Hot Toys. They're
I agree.
Right in the middle, and they're I have 3. They're incredibly. They're just incredible figures.
So this is 155 US. There's a 10% non-refundable down payment, which I think keeps people honest, and that's okay. This is what really sold me, other than it being Mezco and the wicked, legacy they have with figures. I've got a Freddy and a Jason from Mezco. The 4 Horsemen teamed up with Mezco and designed this, and most of it. They didn't do 1 or 2 of the accessories. So the 4 Horsemen are pretty okay in my books.
Yeah.
The fact that they're teaming up with Mezco for one of my favorite superhero villains, if not my favorite, is pretty fantastic.
Dr. Dad.
But the problem, right? Here's the problem. Then I start looking at other Mezco figures. I'm like, oh, it's kind of pricey at 155. And I look at Darkseid and it's like, oh, it's 180. But look at this Cyclops, that's pretty cool. Or look at this Cable, or this Snake Eyes, or this Cyclops looks really cool. It's only $100, and this Cable looks really cool too. And then I look at the Batman from the Batman. He looks pretty cool as a Mezco figure, Jay. I don't know. It's just like you get sucked back in so easily when you allow yourself that 1 little inch for that thing that you love, and then you see other things that are equally as cool.
Yeah, I got
it's a slope.
Actually, it was from eBay, but it was brand new. I got the it was last year. I got Daredevil from the show, like with the blindfold, just with the black mask.
Right.
And that was a lot more than that. But of course, it was eBay. And I also got the regular Daredevil and the Punisher from the show. And they were about that price too. But as soon as I opened them, I was like, wow. Because I have the John Bernthal Marvel Legends. So I compared the two. And you really get what you pay for. Because the Mezco one just crushes it. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I've been thinking about it a lot. And I don't care if I lose the $15 if I were to change my mind. Like I was trying to talk myself out of it after, like lesson learned, $15 gone. Not the greatest thing, but like you said, it's better than an ultimate. Would I rather have 3 ultimates versus one of these? Like, well, it's not an either or, I think, because if there's 3 ultimates that are great, then sure. But I've already not committed to getting every single Turtle ultimate or every single Disney ultimate.
Well, I think
what else am I getting?
You got to look at it more like in a case of like it being your favorite villain or your favorite hero. I think you're allowed to treat yourself.
Sure.
What are those boundaries, right?
But I've already got the Marvel Legends Doom from like a year and a half ago or whatever. And it's a fantastic interpretation of the figure. And I've got the retro throwback packaging with the cloth cape as well. And that's a great version. Of course, I've got the Secret Wars version. I actually got a fairly one in good condition from our good buddy Scott Wad. And then there's the Toy Biz one, which I really don't like for Marvel Superheroes because he's so stiff and he's got the weird twirling wrist.
He's
and
dumb.
Silver Knight Kyle, I don't have the 10-inch one. I wasn't aware of that. If you want to send me something after the fact, I'd love to see it. I don't have Marvel Universe Doctor Doom. So that would be one on the checklist. But I think I'm allowed to have a 4th or 5th Doctor Doom. And
You're allowed to have
like
whatever
we
you
say,
want, my
like
friend.
we say,
You're in
no,
control of
I gotta
your
justify it,
destiny.
right? Because I'm on everybody for how many Luke Skywalkers you might have, or how many Storm Shadows, or how many Leonardo or Ninja Turtle sets do I need, or I mean,
Yeah.
I have 45 Batmans or whatever stupid number it is, and it's a little too much. It really is. So what's the
Well, I mean,
threshold, and what's the motivation to get yet another one?
did you get the Doctor Doom? It was one of the last waves in Legends where they all kind of
Not
looked.
not where he's not white. No, I didn't get the white
The
one.
white one, I didn't like that one at all, and probably because I don't know what story that's from. Even the Red Skull in that, I didn't like. I was just like, I didn't like that whole wave.
It's the same figure, just not in traditional colors. And I don't know the story as much of as I'm a fan of it. There's so many iterations of stories out there,
Oh, of
right? To
course,
keep
yeah,
up. So
yeah,
which is also the fun, because I'm sure I'll read it and they'll be like, "Oh, I gotta get it," just like the Obsidian Silver Surfer with Thor's hammer.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, I mean, don't beat yourself up too much. You still have
I
time
just
if you
can't
want to
believe I'm
cancel it.
buying toys again. Why am I buying toys?
Wow,
Hasbro has my money.
Mezco
Mezco
ruined
has
your
my money.
childhood. Wait till you get the package and you can't see them. Ruined.
I know. I'm buying stuff I can't see. Why am I buying
Big.
things that I
This is
can't
your
even
big
see?
bad with that chair you're sitting at. It looks like your big bad therapy session for Saturday afternoon.
You know
I'm your
what?
therapist,
I'm gonna buy
Doctor
a new kind of
Badland.
shelf. I'm gonna buy a new kind of shelf. It's gonna be a shelf, but when the figures are on there, I'm just gonna shut a door so I can't see anything. I'll know that they're behind it, but I no more will I look at
Yeah.
figures. Everything is just gonna be closed off. In fact, I'm just gonna punch a hole in the wall and throw figures inside
Here you go.
and feel good.
For my video, one point where I was complaining about Hasbro's no window, one point I forgot to completely bring up, and I don't think we brought this up last week either, was think about the inbox only collector. Think about like our buddy Pete, who
Oh,
just
we talked
collects.
about that.
Did
We
we talk
talked
about
about
that?
that. Yeah, about
I
like
didn't bring it up in my
displaying and
video,
putting it
and
on
I'm
the
just like,
wall.
wow, you're
Yeah.
really, yeah, that's right, we did. Like at least NECA, you can open the flap if you want, or you can keep it shut. But to not even have that option if you're an inbox collector, I mean, you're like you're done. Like how could you want to keep collecting? That
Yeah.
really really sucks. But
I
anyway,
don't want to collect. I want to burn everything. I hate this hobby.
sell it
Good night,
all.
folks. Good night, folks. Let's talk about Trash or Treasure. And you kind of brought this up to me because a few hours ago, I'm like, hey, what do you want to talk about today? And you're like, let's talk about lesser known lines. And I thought, well, one way we could come at it is, defining it and what makes it lesser known, of course, but also just trying to figure out what worked and what didn't work from those lines.
Yeah.
So from the beginning, how would you define something that's lesser known or smaller in scope?
Well, the sheer number of figures in the line, I think, would be the biggest defining attribute. So, you know, Sectars has 9 characters, 9 figures. That's it, right? That's a small line. Brave Star has under 10. That's a small line. That's the first. Like Star Trek, the motion picture. That's another one that we can talk about that has the bridge crew, and then there's some aliens that only came out in Europe. That's a small line. So anything like that. And despite it being Star Trek, it was a complete failure.
Yeah.
Not the Mego Star Trek, the Mego 3.75 motion picture ones, just a complete disaster. So that's how I would define it.
Yeah, so that's interesting because I didn't necessarily think about quantity when trying to determine if it was a lesser known line. I was thinking more stuff that was lesser known because it wasn't tied to a major piece of media.
But
it's hard to argue with what you're saying. Like you look at something like Clash of the Titans, right? Like there's 5 figures in the Kraken and the Pegasus?
there's 4 figures and the Kraken and the Pegasus. There's only 4.
Okay,
There's
4 figures.
two bad guys and 2 good guys. And
Yeah.
that's it. And then you have Pegasus and the Kraken.
And of course, it was a pretty big movie at the time. The line did okay for Mattel. It didn't make them a ton of cash.
There was a lot of
But
stuff planned for it. There was the Palatoid Death Star mold has been pitched a million different ways to a million different IPs. And Clash of the Titans was going to get a Calabas's Lair playset, and it never came out. That was one, and you know what a huge fan I am of that movie. It's one of my favorite films. I'm really surprised that one failed, given the whole early 80s Dungeons and Dragons craze that took off. And that film, I think you know better than I would, box office wise, but I think it did well.
It did okay,
Yeah.
but the problem is with like so many toy properties that were based on movies, at least before 1982, you can only really market it up to the release because there wasn't even home video at that time. Right. So you can plan a toy line
Yeah.
around it. It's hard to keep it going when you don't have that media tie-in like you would with a cartoon where every week or every day there's a new episode that can get people excited
Yeah.
and you can plant new characters.
So that being said, with the Mattel Clash of the Titans, now is this where we say trash or treasure, and we gonna you say and then I say what I think? How you want to do it?
I don't have that point until the very end. I just had a bunch of broad questions and kind of topics, but if you want to talk about trash or treasure at this point, we can.
So yeah, I mean I have a bunch of examples of toy lines that we can talk about. So we just discussed that one. For that one, I always thought it was a treasure. I don't remember. I knew a bunch of kids who had that stuff, and at no point were we ever bored with Clash of the Titans. There's some toy lines that we'll talk about that really didn't make sense even back then when I was a kid. But I think Clash of the Titans is a treasure. And now, fast forward to today's market, those figures are worth a small fortune, right?
Yeah, assuming we can't say it's neither trash nor treasure, just like it is what it is, I would have to lean towards treasure on that one too. That Kraken alone is really cool. And seeing the Pegasus that you scored, we made season 2, like that's a cool piece in and of itself. And I could, I would want to play with those toys. There's nothing wrong with anything about their design or how they play at all.
There was definitely room for growth. There was definitely a multitude of characters that they still could have dipped in at least for a second wave, but it never got that far. It just didn't.
Yeah, I mean, I love Greek and Roman mythology.
Yeah.
I'll be curious to see if there's a line that comes out for Percy Jackson, given that Disney Plus is rebooting that. There was 2 films that came out, very much like a Harry Potter type story, but set in Greek and Roman mythology, and now it's being rebooted as series. So it's the perfect kind of thing to like tie a figure series to, because you have core characters, lots of different stories, missions, mythology. So it would be a good bundle. Let me ask you this: with these lesser known lines, is it really like a choice between picking and choosing, or should you just go all in on some of them because they're so small in scope, like Clash of the Titans? 4 plus a Kraken plus a Pegasus. I mean, you could just go after the Kraken and probably be happy, because I think we both agree it's the best piece of them all.
It is. It's the most sought after. It's also, Pegasus, they're both pretty fragile, but
if you could have one, you want the Kraken.
Yeah, that's the showstopper. I mean, it's huge. It's still huge to this day. I would say the smaller lines aren't necessarily easier to collect for, because they tend to be a little more expensive, like stuff like Inhumanoids, where there's like under, I think, 15 characters altogether. Those 3 monsters are pretty expensive, right? Clash of the Titans, you can get the 4 core figures, no problem, but then Pegasus and the Kraken, so I wouldn't say it's necessarily easier. It all depends, really. There's some stuff, like, I mean, we can go into like the Black Hole, which really fascinates me that they even made this into a toy line. This was, of course, Mego again. For anyone who doesn't know the Black Hole, I'm just, it's a late 70s movie trying to cash in on Star Wars, and it's this really bizarre, macabre Disney, which is crazy because it's completely dark, and it's actually a horrifying movie. I call it a haunted house movie in space, because it's very creepy and it's actually really scary. But they made toys for the Black Hole. Like, if you've seen the Black Hole, like, it's amazing to me that us kids were subjected to that. Like, that's...
Yeah, but look at the stuff that came out late 70s and early 80s, early to mid 80s. There's a lot of dark fantasy stuff for kids.
Yes. But nothing about the Black Hole is fun. Nothing about it is fun. So, I mean, maybe at the beginning,
fun about the Dark Crystal, though. Like, there's nothing fun about the Dark Crystal. It's a serious thing.
It's a fun adventure. It's a scary adventure, but I think it's a fun adventure to go on. There's all these different locations. The Black Hole, there's no fun. and it's like people are betraying each other to survive, and this ship of just like essentially dead humans, zombie humans. It's quite terrifying, and they made this into a toy line, and it did very, very poorly. That's another great example. Those figures, most of them are pretty cheap until you get to like Old Bob, who I believe was only available in Canada, but he's about 2,500 loose.
I'm
So,
yeah, I mean, like you said, it's a space sci-fi movies and put out by Disney. So anything in the wake of Star Wars around
yeah.
78, 79 was going to get turned into a toy to try to get some of that merchandising power, I think.
Well, they're like, "Hey, if Kenner did it with Star Wars, we do it. Our movies in space, yeah, no, it doesn't really work that way."
I think the difference is, something like the Black Hole, they went into production without even like the ending written
Oh
because they
wow,
wanted
I
to
didn't
get
know
it
that.
done so quickly to take advantage of all the space,
Do you know what? That
fad
makes
stuff.
sense, dude, because I've debated this with people for a long time, whether the ending is good or not. But the ending is makes me feel weird.
Because
Yeah,
it was tacked on.
but it's you know what I'm talking about when Maximilian or Reinhardt is actually inside Maximilian or something. Like it's and then he's in hell, and then the heroes are supposed to be like in the Garden of Eden, like they go to heaven, but it's like everyone dies. It's crazy, man. If you guys haven't seen it, I'm pretty sure it's on Disney Plus. You can check it
Yeah.
out, but I recommend it highly.
It would be like if Luke blew up the Death Star and instead of like everything that followed after, like he finds himself in heaven, but like one with the Force and talking to other people and he
Well,
hid
yeah,
it.
it would be
And
like the
it's
end of
so
Return of the
weird.
Jedi. Think of the end of Return of the Jedi, except instead of Lando and the Falcon, it would be Luke. And then Luke blows up the Death Star, but Luke doesn't make it out. The Falcon blows up too. It'd be
Yeah.
like, whoa, like yeah, crazy like that.
Yeah.
But anyway, they made a toy line of that. It's very small. What's another good one? Can you think of? I can think of a couple, but if you want to throw a couple out there,
I mean, there's not a ton of cops figures or visionary figures out there.
Visionaries is a great
Those are
one.
those are my go-tos. Like, those are the things that still get me excited when I think about them. And I'd love to have them on the shelf. I didn't like the visionary vehicles. I thought they looked really, really strange.
They are really weird. I agree. Even
They're very like
Recon.
geometrical. They're almost like
Yeah.
polygon graphic, like PlayStation
Yeah.
5, like Descent looking
Yeah.
vehicles.
They're really weird. Recon's big ship, and I can't remember what it's called. Our buddy Darren had it. It was just this. It just didn't look like. It looked like if you were to make a ship out of Lego, that's what this
Yeah.
thing would look like, right?
Yeah. It's a hodgepodge of weird triangles put together.
Yeah, Chris Star's a good one. That's a small line. Cops had two waves, two pretty big waves actually. That line is fantastic. What a great show.
65 episodes at least to support
You had Larry Hama writing the file cards. I don't understand how that line failed. It was, there were basically GI Joes, but 6-inch.
Yeah.
Do you know why, man? I thought the show was great. I have no
I
idea why that
know.
line failed.
I know it got pushed around a lot. The cartoon had to get renamed to Cyber Cops because of the live action show Cops.
Right.
There was confusion and like brand issuing and lawsuits and stuff like that. You also the line is called Cops and Crooks, but the show is called Cops. So there's a little bit of a disconnect there. I mean, they obviously look like them, but the figures don't really look like the cartoon counterparts in a lot of cases.
Well, yeah, and there was some
Big Boss looks way different. Berserker looks way different. I think the toys look way better than the cartoon, but
yeah, and all the female characters were not made. Mainframe wasn't made. Nightshade wasn't made. So that's really sucked too because they were really cool characters. Speaking of the cartoon not looking anything like the figures, let's talk about LJN D&D. There's another, one of my favorite lines of all time, still to this day, and confusing as a kid. You had this cartoon that was just awesome, man, about these, I think 5 or 6 kids go through the roller coaster. They come out in the land of D&D or whatever, and then the toy line came out, branded Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, based on the advanced rule book of the role-playing game. And then they tried to tie in like Wardukes in one episode, Stronghearts in one episode, Tiamat's in the intro, but the figures that came out, none of them were the 5 or 6 kids.
Yeah.
So it's like you weren't any of the hero characters. It it didn't
Nothing
make a
lined
lot of
up.
sense.
There's
Yeah,
the Rubik's Cube you could never solve, and it wasn't just enough to have Dungeons and Dragons in the name of all of them, because they were each for a different audience. Clearly.
it was just it made no like how hard would it have been to make those. And I apologize if it's 5 or 6 kids. I can't remember. It's been a while since I've watched that. Let's just say 6. Those 6 kids, right? The hero characters, and they all had their own class. That would have been great. And then having these other characters to kind of accompany them. You could have Kalik and Warduk as like the main bad guys, but it didn't go that way. And that line has got some of the most beautiful figures ever in toy history. And it's just one that not a lot of people try to go for or know a lot about. It's a shame.
Well, we got to talk about it. Our staple that we have been avoiding for a while.
Go
That's
for
of
it.
course Captain Power.
Captain Power. Yeah. Well, I mean, see,
it's a very small line. There's not a lot of characters in it. If when Danny's
Yeah.
watching this, I'm sure he'll chime in. I think there's something like 10 figures. Maybe it's 9, maybe it's less. And there's like a Dark Trooper prototype.
I honestly, I'm familiar with the first wave, not so much the second. But yeah, there's under 10, I think.
Yeah, there's under 10 for sure. And then they have like more than 10 vehicles, which I think is like, or like, vehicles and bases and stuff, which is really interesting, right? Because if you're gonna collect that, the figures are easy to find. A lot of them have vac metal parts on it, which makes it really fun, nice. And like stand out.
They look great. Yeah.
But it's the vehicles you're gonna have the trouble getting in the condition that you want. And of course, everything has a battery component. So you're going to have to worry about the acid from batteries of yesteryear burning stuff or not being used. And look at the Transfield base, this is something that is a little bit of a bunker, but it has like a million pieces to it. We were talking last week about Eternia and all the weapons rack accessories that comes with that. The Transfield base has a ton of little just pieces everywhere. So making sure you can get that complete is pretty hard if you don't buy it brand new, because you just don't have the market for Captain Power like you do for G.I. Joe.
Yeah, you don't. Yeah. That's one that absolutely made sense. I mean, that show was almost built for toys, right? I mean, the very
by design, yeah.
Yeah, the interactivity of you and the cartoon tapes that you would buy or the show itself. Yeah, I mean, it was meant for figures. That's like it's perfect. If you could create a show, like that's the perfect example of toy to show how it works, right?
And it's funny because it wasn't in mind. Obviously, action figures were in mind, but the interactivity wasn't part of the original sales pitch. What sold it was the fact that the group that did it, which was led by Masters Universe director Gary Goddard, who's in some interesting hot water. But anyways, he had trademarked the name Captain Power, and it was on the name alone that Mattel said, "There's no way you've got that." He's like, "Yeah, we have Captain Power." And like, well, that's just a great marketable name for an action figure hero. Right. And he had also had the Bible, which I've showcased on other episodes that we've done before, and everything laid out. And the Mattel had this other interactive technology that they wanted to marry with something. So like, oh, well, this seems perfect.
Yeah.
And of course, borrowing as much as they can from He-Man, Captain Power, and the Soldiers of the Future, like He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, the whole power on, I have the power. But it didn't work.
The rules of what went into a kid's show or movie were definitely different back then. I mean, Captain Power, we've said this a million times, that's a dark show. That's a really grim show. It's funny that they was just to watch that. But you know what? I think we grew up okay ish.
What about Dick Tracy? Is that a lesser known line? Is that worth collecting? Captain Power, trash or treasure?
Oh, that's a treasure for sure. My real gripe, of course, is with the human face sculpts. But really, now that I think about it, even more than that is the fact that they didn't make vac metal for Sauron. What a missed opportunity!
Yeah, because all the other
figures had it.
Yeah. Cops and Crooks, trash or treasure?
Oh, that's one of my favorites. Treasure. Yeah.
Visionaries.
Treasure. Yeah.
Yeah. Crystar, Arco, Air Raiders, Centurions. Is there anything that's really trash? I guess that's the better way to come at it. What lesser known lines are like super trash, would you say?
I don't think any are. are really trash, to be honest. I was never a big fan of Crystar. Yeah, nothing off the top of my head. Even Black Star is a very small line, but I like that too. I just can't think of anything. Can you that's really
I
trash?
don't really like Dick Tracy.
Dick
You
Tracy,
know,
yeah.
I like the characters as a kid, but when I think back as like, but I like them because they're very much like the Sinister Six or, you know, Batman's stable of villains. They were different. They were comic booky because they're
Yeah.
born of that same era, right? But those figures aren't great. Of course, they're easy to pick up. There's like almost no unique accessories. They all have this stupid gun. The
Same.
blank is the coolest figure by far out of that entire line.
Yeah.
It's like DC's The Question, but it also had a briefcase and it had the removable mask, which none of the other figures really had anything. So it stands out for the way it was designed and packaged to begin with. But to me, it's probably the closest to trash. And because there was no subsequent movies or a TV
Well,
show or anything, it just, I don't know.
I got one. I found a trash.
All right.
Galoob's A-Team figures. Boy, are those horrible. Like horrible figures. The 3.75 specifically, the 6-inch aren't that bad, but the 3.75 are terrible. They all have generic colors to separate them. So Hannibal's blue, BA's green, like the entire suit. It's like they have army suits on, and their head sculpts are so bad. Their weapons remind me of like Dollar Tree army soldier guns. They're terrible. There you go. I love the show, but I can't stand the A-Team toys. Trash.
All right, your trash is A-Team. Mine is Dick Tracy, and I, well, I don't really love the movie. It's okay. It's good. There's stuff that you love as a kid, but when you look back, it's hard to get behind it. And I don't know if that's just the marketing that sways you at the time, the excitement, getting, you know, emotionally invested in stuff. The blank is that one exception, but I just can't do it for that.
Well,
line.
there's other stuff, and I have my example here of Kenner's Knight Rider with a 6-inch scale, Michael Knight, and I love this toy. Always love this toy, but think about it and how much making this toy back then made 0 sense, because that is literally the only figure in the line. So what are you gonna do? Have Knight Rider like visit your Star Wars guys to solve a crime? It's like, not to mention that he towered over them. He towered over He-Man figures. So
it's a little bit, yeah. It's a little bit like
it's
RoboCop, right? Like RoboCop, you're gonna have RoboCop in what, Ed 209, and then what? You know, they had to make like the cartoon, and then there was a live action series, but it wasn't really for kids. And then it was like RoboCop, like the Batman thing with all these extra gadgets. And it makes sense because RoboCop could have all these new like enhancements theoretically, but I don't know, it felt weird. Or Beetlejuice figures, like a new figure for every different suit that he wore in the movie. Like, you know, easily a film kind of aimed towards adults.
Who wants to play that? I've never even seen that movie in its entirety. It annoys me so much.
Beetlejuice?
Always did.
Oh, such a good movie, man.
Johnny, you bring up that. That's actually one I'm on the hunt for. That's my next grail.
one?
Is that LJN Magnum and Ferrari Magnum PI. That thing is
Put
wicked.
it beside Michael Knight.
Yeah. So anyway, I love the Michael Knight, but yeah, that's I wouldn't say it's trash. I would say it's a treasure, but it's one that, again, I don't understand what you were really supposed to do with it as a kid, right? It's just a one-off, but
and Ryan's saying that he loved the Beetlejuice figures. I just didn't understand how you played with them. I understand that they were literally taking Beetlejuice from a scene in the movie, not from the cartoon, not from the kids' cartoon that came out, but literally taking, you know, whether he was in his, like, he had the shrunken head. You might not have seen that part because it's near the end. Or he's like in the black and white suit with the arms, and he's got like the merry-go-round head on. Like, how do you play with that stuff? I played with him with my Ghostbusters. Because
that makes sense. That's pretty smart.
Ghost, but like on its own, how does it work?
It's like the failure of the Kenner Indiana Jones stuff, because every figure, for the most part, was scene specific, like you're describing the Beetlejuice. So it's like you can only play Indian German soldier disguise for like that one part of the movie when he's trying to get the arc, right? Like it makes no sense any other way. So these very scene specific figures, it didn't work. Beetlejuice sounds even more scene specific than the Indiana Jones stuff, man. That's crazy.
Yeah,
How are you gonna
kids'
play
toys,
Yeah,
kids' toys for an adult movie that were scene specific. Like, talk about multiple
it's
strikes.
that song, dude. That I'm not even gonna. I hate that song.
Ew!
Can't. It's
Harry
embarrassing.
Belafonte. I
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah.
You want to get to action figure spotlight? Is Michael Knight your spotlight?
No.
Oh, so
No.
you're sneaking in 2 figures now. For the last few weeks, I've noticed you've taken a few minutes to talk about the thing over your shoulder, but no, it's not my spotlight.
Brother, this
This is
table
my
has been
spotlight.
here every episode since we started shooting down here, and I always
Yeah,
have
but you
something
haven't
different.
always referenced it. You haven't always
Oh
referenced the
yeah.
toys
Well,
on there.
this is part of
You're
the
taking
part
more
of the
screen
topic.
time.
Part of
That's
the
not our
topic.
contractual obligation. Our contractual obligation is not to talk about anything for action figure spotlight, except for the action figure spotlight action figure.
You got it.
Okay.
Yeah, this one I have is it's a new figure. No, it's not from Hasbro. Finally, God, what wave are we on? Wave 4, I think, for Super 7. And
I thought you were done with all these.
not the Thundercats.
Yeah, you said you canceled all your pre-orders. You're not doing them anymore.
I did cancel my pre-orders.
You just happen to still buy them.
That's all I'll say. I got them cheaper somewhere else. We'll just keep it at that.
Yeah.
So this character is rather obscure. He's only in a few episodes, but I actually haven't even opened this yet. I've seen him a little bit. So I love the Thundercats Ultimates, and there's some of my favorite videos that I make. I don't think I'm going to make one on the Snowman. But look at that packaging. Super 7 Ultimates.
Just like my Disney one from last week, it's just glossy, impressive. Gorgeous. It stands out. It looks good on a shelf or behind a wall.
Yeah, it's beautiful. We have the Thundercats logo, and I love the reveal of the Ultimates. Here we go. The Snowman of Hook Mountain. Look at that. You can hear the Thundercat roar. Look at that guy. Woo, baby. And he's heavy.
So he comes
with Ice Spear and Lance. He just doesn't have Snow Meow, which sucks. That's his mount. But there is Snowman of Hook Mountain. What a fantastic figure. This wave is probably one of the weakest, I think, as far as characters go.
Who's in it?
Pumra, Linkso, and Monkeyin. So Monkeyin, I mean, is the last of the 3, the bad guy trio. I forget what they're called, but Linkso, I mean, he came in later. He's all right. He's the blind guy. He's kind of like the Obi-Wan character. And then Pumra was from one episode where Mumra went into disguise yet again to foil the Thundercats. And he does until about 10 minutes until the episode is up. And then they figure it out. Weird how it all happens that way.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Has Jaga been released yet?
Yeah, he was in Wave 3 last wave.
We
still haven't got Wave 2. So Wave 1, Wave 3, and Snowman is from Wave 4. We haven't got Wave 2 yet. I don't get it. But
I want a Spirit of Jaga figure. That's what I'll take. I'll take a glow-in-the-dark, translucent Spirit of Jaga figure.
That's a really cool idea. Yeah, because Wave 2 has Tigra and Mumra, like big Mumra.
Or the Ever-Living.
The Ever-Living, we haven't got him yet, but waiting patiently.
There you go. Well, for my action figure spotlight this week, it ties into that guilty purchase I made. And this is something that I picked up on the Action Figure Adventure Season 2 Road Trip. And that is a boxed set of the Fantastic Four from Marvel Universe. It's funny you're talking about 3 3/4 inch figures. I still love this line so much. The figures are so cool. Again, this is something that is destined to be open because the figures are that cool. Have a good look at Mr. Fantastic, Invisible Woman, Herbie, and Thing. I don't know why Human Torch isn't part of this. He was released separately, but just not in this 4-pack, which is okay. This 4-pack was quite affordable. I think it was like $30 Canadian.
Yeah, that whole line is great. You were grabbing up a ton of those. I remember I got a couple of Daredevils from that line.
I will say that even though with this being $30, a lot of figures, which you can only get secondhand now, or if you because they don't release them obviously still, they're up there in cost and rival Marvel Legends price. So do you want a Legends figure at 6-inch scale, or do you want something that's 3 3/4? Is it about display space? Because The sculpt is just as good, I think, on these. Now, if I'm going to have a gripe with something on one of these figures, it's like Mr. Fantastic. There's really nothing special about him.
But you know
They
what?
don't have
I don't like
they
a
don't
lot of
have
the
all the long
legends.
arms or anything, or they
I
don't
don't
have
like
anything that's
that.
pull off.
Yeah.
But I was just going to say, it's refreshing to get some figures for once and not have 100 different fists that come with them and just be able to put them on the counter. Do I want a half translucent invisible woman? I think that's the obvious play. There's certainly a lot less invisible women that are just completely solid. And I think this is kind of based on the ultimate version of the figures by the looks of it. And maybe that's why Human Torch is not there. But I really like the Thing in that display as well. And that character, for some reason, it's really hard to do the Thing well in action figure form because I think you see the joints so easily against that rocky orange texture.
Yeah. Yeah, I like having Mr. Fantastic without elongated limbs, if you will. It's like I can use my imagination for that. I don't need a lot of the legends. His fingers are long and stuff. It just looks stupid. But
the most recent one, he's got the white lab coat, which kind of looks cool, and he doesn't look elongated as well. Although I think it's a missed opportunity to not have like a Stretch Armstrong Mr. Fantastic.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool.
Because again, the play feature ties in with the figure. So
sure
Cactus
does.
Jamie is saying he paid $70 for Professor X from that line. So that just shows you the cost of those figures going up. I grabbed they're above me here. I grabbed a Silver Surfer, a Magneto, and a couple of the 2-packs that they did near the end of the runs where they're just battles. I think there was like a Hulk and Wolverine and Colossus and Juggernaut stuff. So
wicked.
Yeah, that'll do it for another show. Jay, where can people find you?
Guys, check me out on YouTube. Thank you always for the support and the great conversations that we get into on my YouTube videos. It's just Jay Bartlett, and there's another, and he is caught up to me. Where the Exorcist Jay Bartlett is the other Jay Bartlett, and he's my nemesis. I love the guy. I don't know the guy, but he's at the exact number. I was beating him this week, and now he's caught up to me. He's buying subs or something. Something's going on.
He's buying subs. I love it.
Buying subs. I'm convinced.
Buying subs.
I blew by him, and then he's like, "Wait a second, that toy geek is beating me."
Then there was a haunting somewhere in Connecticut, and then he got caught up to you. Everybody's paying attention to him.
So I am the long-haired, not Exorcist Jay Bartlett. So check me out on YouTube.
You can have conversations with me on my YouTube channel here. Hit like and subscribe so you can see when all the new content comes out, of course. Check out Action Figure Adventure Season 2 on Kickstarter. Become a backer today. Join the adventure. Get some exclusive rewards and get them all before they end up anywhere else in a super fan-friendly, community-supportive kind of way. On Twitter as well, at Rob McZob. And when it comes to YouTube, you'll see here that there's more than one Rob McCallum. So
you already had it queued. Look at you.
Yeah, I did have it queued.
I want to see the other one.
I'm at 1.15 subscribers here, but down here, this is the gentleman we have to go against here. Robert McCallum, who's all about survival, bug out, bushcraft, has 3.87 subscribers. So I'm about halfway there. So
you got to beat William Wallace McCallum. Now go to search me now, and you'll see, just for everyone, that it's the same exact number. This is crazy. Watch this.
2.24.
2.24.
What sucks is that he's the one that comes up first.
I know. Yeah, I think even when I was beating him, he came up first. He's got more videos. That's probably why. I don't know.
No, because if you go to me, I've got 218 videos. I came up first here, and this guy down here has 487 videos. You got twice as many videos, twice as many subs, and yet I come up first.
He's twice as good as me, but I'll get you one day, and your little dog too.
Well, thanks for watching, guys. For the love of toys and the warmth of scarves, which we've got to get back on because it's starting to get warm outside. Take care of each other.
Take care of yourselves.
Take care of each other and yourselves. Do it.
No, take care of yourselves and each other.
You know what
time of the day is
playtime, Jay?
Yeah, playtime.
Playtime is the best time of the day. It's been confirmed by a recent study. Thanks for watching, everyone. Have a very cool day.